Hello and welcome to today's edition of the Rockbridge Report. I'm Bryn McCarthy.
And I'm Jack Douglas.
There is less than 1 week to go before the 2018 midterm elections, and there's heavy absentee and early voting in many states, unlike other off-year elections. John Lawrence reports.
Candidates across the country are heading toward the final stretch before the 2018 midterm elections.
One thing you do is next Tuesday is vote.
And there's an unusual excitement in the air. More than 24 youth activist groups have scheduled a national walkout Tuesday. The goal is to get more people out to vote. And it's not just students making that push. President Trump is stumping in a number of states over the next few days, including Montana, Tennessee, and Ohio.
I think that the president's the best messenger for the party. He's had an incredible, historic first 2 years in office, and he has a great story to tell.
One of the most closely watched races is in Texas. Republican incumbent Ted Cruz is battling for his seat in the Senate against Democratic Congressman Beto O'Rourke. A lot of eyes are on the gubernatorial contest in Georgia between Republican Brian Kemp and Democrat Stacey Abrams. Members of the White House, including Vice President Pence, are campaigning for Kemp. Abrams has the backing of former Presidents Obama and Carter, as well as Oprah Winfrey. Meanwhile, in Wisconsin, incumbent GOP Governor Scott Walker is neck and neck with Democratic challenger Tony Evers.
This last week may be a game of inches, maybe millimeters, to who gets the advantage.
Which means every vote counts. I'm John Lawrence reporting.
While most politicians are focused on midterms, President Trump also has some issues on his mind. Just moments ago, Trump concluded a nationwide address from the White House where he took on the issue of immigration. He says that the country will not be allowing migrants into the country and that the country will catch and no longer release migrants. President Trump went after Speaker of the House Paul Ryan Wednesday for not supporting him in his claim to end a constitutional guarantee. Trump tweeted that Ryan, quote, knows nothing about birthright citizenship after Ryan told a Kentucky radio station that you cannot end birthright citizenship with an executive order. But Trump recently said in an interview he believes that he can. Trump tweeted that Ryan should be focusing on holding the majority rather than giving his opinion on birthright citizenship.
A rabbi of the Pittsburgh synagogue attacked last Saturday is sharing his thoughts after President Trump's visit. Rabbi Jeffrey Myers met President Trump Tuesday and says he found him warm and consoling. The meeting came after Tree of Life Synagogue was attacked by a gunman who killed 11 people. Myers says he received hate-filled backlash for saying the president was welcome at his synagogue after the shooting.
Hate speech has no place in our society, that hate speech leads to actions of hate. Hate speech led to the death of 7 of my congregants and 11 total in my building. And we shared more other personal conversation that I'd respectfully like to keep personal. He listened. I would say the answer to your question would be to take a look and see, okay, post-visit, what does the president continue to do? And I don't need to answer that. I think you and the public can formulate their own answer. But I don't foist blame upon any one person. I think it's a national issue.
The suspect in the Pittsburgh massacre, Robert Bowers, was charged with 44 counts, including hate crimes. Federal prosecutors have indicated they plan to seek the death penalty. If you're planning to perform your civic duty Tuesday, there are 17 places to vote in Rockbridge County. In Lexington, you can vote at the Rockbridge Area Relief Association in Buena Vista. You can go to the polls at the municipal building in the courthouse. The polls will be open from 6 a.m. until 7 p.m. on Tuesday. You will be required to show a valid ID to vote. All 11 of Virginia's U.S. House seats are up for grabs this election day. Currently, Virginia has 7 Republicans and 4 Democrats in Washington, but that may change come Tuesday. 2 Virginia House seats are considered toss-ups by the Cook Political Report, the 2nd District in the Virginia Beach area, and the 7th District in Central Virginia. Both seats are currently held by Republicans. Senator Tim Kaine visited Lexington Monday in his last campaign push before the midterm elections. Kaine joined 6th District House of Representatives candidate Jennifer Lewis at the Democratic headquarters in Lexington, where they spoke about plans for change in Washington. Kane is the Democratic incumbent running for the U.S. Senate against Republican Corey Stewart. One poll has Kane up by 18 points. Lewis is running against Republican Ben Klein.
Former senior White House advisor Steve Bannon will head to Virginia to help rally Republicans before Election Day. The Richmond native who graduated from Virginia Tech says he will visit Virginia this weekend. Bannon says tight races in Virginia could help determine partisan control of the U.S. House and derail President Donald Trump's agenda. Democrats have focused on trying to grab several Republican-held seats across the state, including those currently held by Scott Taylor, Dave Bratt, and Barbara Comstock. The Rockbridge Regional Jail is struggling to care for its 150 current inmates. The jail has a capacity of just 111. To ease overcrowding, the jail moved 27 inmates to larger surrounding jail facilities at a cost to local taxpayers. Superintendent Derek Almerode says the closing of some state prisons has worsened overcrowding, and inmates are remaining in jail to serve out longer sentences than before. The Rockbridge Regional Jail Commission may ask the state for additional funding. For more on this story, check rockbridgereport.wlu.edu.
Coming up on the Rockbridge Report, find out what ride-sharing service is starting a subscription service to help keep costs down.
And later, how violent storms are affecting historic Venice, Italy.
As you can see, it's a little cloudy in Lexington here today, and we're expecting some rain later. Stay tuned for the full 5-day weather forecast today at 5 on the Rockbridge Report.
Richmond-based Dominion Energy Company is trying to buy a private utility in South Carolina and says it's also willing to manage part of a state-owned utility after the failure of a nuclear power project. Dominion has written to South Carolina's state-owned utility, Santee Cooper, offering to run parts of the business, and is also in the process of buying the parent company of South Carolina Electric and Gas Company. The South Carolina companies had already spent $9 billion when they abandoned plans last year to build 2 nuclear reactors that were behind schedule and over budget. Dominion serves part of the Rockbridge area. Tate, can you tell us a little more about what's going on this weekend? I know that there's some rainy weather in the forecast, but nothing quite like what's going on in Venice. Can you tell us more?
Yes. So in Italy, violent storms, small tornadoes, and hurricane-force winds have lashed the country. At least 11 people have died. Much of Venice is underwater after ferocious winds drove the high tide to flood historic areas like St. Mark's Basilica. Crews worked to clean up the famous church after water flooded it on Tuesday. The rainfall for Venice was more than 1.5 meters above average this week, and that's the highest level recorded in more than a decade.
Wow, thanks for this update, Tate. Can you let us know what we should kind of be expecting here locally?
Yeah, let's go check out Lexington today. So as you can see in Lexington today, there's a little bit of cloud coverage. Coming up, we have a high of 74 with a low of 59. There is 29.85 inches of mercury with a wind speed of 11 miles per hour, though as it starts to rain, that could increase to up to 22 miles per hour tonight, and humidity is at 59%. As you can see, the skies are still pretty clear, but there is some pretty heavy cloud coverage up in West Virginia. However, our regional temperatures locally are a little bit closer to what we're experiencing here in Lexington with cloudy. It's a little bit warmer in Charlottesville with a high of 71. And it gets colder near Covington with a low of 57. For the rest of the 5-day forecast, we are looking at a little bit of light showers tomorrow with a high of 68 and a low of 46. But it'll be sunny again on Saturday with a high of 58 and a low of 35. Sunday will be much the same with a high of 59 and a low of 38. But it will be cloudy again Monday with a high of 6 and a low of 47. And there will be some rain again Tuesday with a high of 64 and a low of 51. That's all for weather. Back to you, Jack and Bryn.
Thanks, Tate. Coming up on the Rockbridge Report, how ice cream is getting political.
And later, how one animal stole the show in a fashion show in Turkey. And how youth football is thriving in Rockbridge County. All that and more next.
In El Salvador, a new migrant caravan started its journey to the United States. Police say about 800 migrants will travel around 78 miles to reach the border with Guatemala. The migrants say they are looking for better opportunities. The first migrant caravan set off its journey in mid-October, leaving from Honduras. They are now in Mexico and are still more than 800 miles from the United States border. Ben & Jerry's ice cream is putting politics where their mouth is. The company issued a new flavor called Pecan Resist as part of a campaign to make the U.S. a fair place for everyone to live. The new flavor is highlighting 4 groups in its campaign. The first, Color of Change, Honor the Earth, Women's March, and NITA. Ben & Jerry's will donate $25,000 to each organization and encourages its customers to learn more about them.
Police are investigating the mysterious deaths of 2 sisters from Saudi Arabia whose bodies washed up on New York City's waterfront last week. The sisters, Tala and Rotana Faria, were discovered October 24th on a bank of the Hudson River, more than 200 miles from their home in Fairfax, where they were reported missing in August. Police say the sisters' bodies were taped together and facing each other, but had no obvious signs of trauma. They were both fully clothed. Investigators have not determined how they died.
Uber has introduced a new monthly subscription plan to its ride service to help riders avoid surge pricing. The plan, called Ride Pass, starts at $14.99 a month, but pricing depends on the city. The initial launch is available in Los Angeles, Denver, Orlando, Miami, and Austin, Texas. No word yet on whether Uber will expand to other cities. The plan locks in more consistent flat rate pricing for each ride, so frequent riders can avoid charges during peak times. While the plan renews automatically each month, it can be canceled at any time.
About 400,000 newly eligible low-income Virginia adults can start enrolling in Medicaid, fulfilling a campaign promise for Governor Ralph Northam. Medicaid expansion enrollment begins today for coverage that will start at the beginning of 2019. The state has a website, www.coverva.com, to help people sign up.
Lexington hosted its annual downtown trick-or-treat yesterday afternoon. Each year, police close off Main Street from car traffic so children and their guardians can collect candy from downtown businesses. The event took place from 3:30 to 5 p.m. Later on the Rockbridge Report, why the World Series trophy had to go to the repair shop.
How the VMI men's basketball team plans to rebuild its struggling program.
And a star athlete continues to win national championships in tennis at age 92. All that and more next. So Jack, did you get a chance to watch the World Series Sunday?
Bryn, it was a great game for Red Sox fans. Boston sure knows how to celebrate.
They sure do.
Can you tell us what's going on up in Boston, Gus?
Absolutely. The fans packed the city on Wednesday as the Boston Red Sox took to the city streets to celebrate the World Series win over the LA Dodgers. Fans gathered to watch as the team rode in duck boats throughout the city. Some spectators threw drinks to the players, and one can hit the World Series trophy as it was being held. Kevin Gregg, a spokesman for the team, says the damage has already been fixed. On an international level, American gymnast Simone Biles won her 4th all-around title at the World Championship while battling a kidney stone. The event was held in Doha, Qatar. She is the first woman to win 4 all-around titles. She has not lost a meet since the 2013 U.S. Championships. Here in Lexington, VMI's men's basketball program has struggled since changing conferences in 2015. This year, the Keydets are looking to rebuild.
VMI's basketball players say they are focused on getting better. Last season, the Keydets featured 7 freshmen and finished 9-21 overall. Head coach Dan Earl says he expects his players to get better.
This year's been great in that we have 11 of our 14 guys know what's going on, know the expectations, know the terminology.
Earl says the team's goals are straightforward.
We're just looking to get better. I know that sounds simple and like a cliche, but we're just trying to improve every day out. Hopefully win more games than last year, certainly, but try to get better and improve.
Sophomore guard Bubba Parham is a big part of the team's future. Last season, Parham won the Southern Conference's Freshman Player of the Year award.
He really is a good all-around basketball player. That is, he can score, certainly, but he can also set guys up and get shots for other guys. So there'll be people targeting him, but I think he'll take another big jump this year.
Last season, the team averaged only 65 points per game. This year, they will play a faster brand of basketball.
You should expect for us to be a lot more mature, taking care of the ball. We all know the system better now, so we play a little faster and get up and down more.
Junior forward Tyler Kramer is confident that a combination of speed and experience will translate to victories.
We're battle tested and we're hoping to build off of last year. I think 15 games is a goal that this team can reach.
The Keydets start with a rigorous out-of-conference schedule. They play at Kentucky, Pittsburgh, and Virginia Tech.
It's going to be great. Looking forward to it, playing in the big stages. That's where we all dreamed of playing.
VMI finished 4-14 in Southern Conference play last year. Earl says the players learned a lot from playing in the competitive conference.
It'll be a good experience, but we don't go out just to run around and have fun. We go out to compete and get better.
Bubba Parham was selected for the preseason All-Southern Conference team. His team will tip the season off November 6th at home against Division II opponent Washington College. For the Rockbridge Report, I'm Colin Whitmore.
Also here in Lexington, the Washington and Lee football team traveled to Guilford where they lost 3-40. The Generals will take the field again on Saturday to face off against Hampton-Sydney. The W&L women's soccer team lost to Lynchburg in the ODAC quarterfinals yesterday. They fell 1-2 in double overtime. The team's season is now over. The Rockbridge County High School girls varsity volleyball team won 3-0 against Fort Defiance yesterday. This was their 6th consecutive win. The Wildcats football team will be taking the field on Friday at 7:30 to take on Broadway High School. And the Perry McClure Fighting Blues will also be taking the field on Friday to face off against the Narrows. The game begins at 7 p.m. Football is not just for high school students in the county. Rockbridge Area Recreation Organization, more commonly known as RARO, has a youth football league of its own. The Rockbridge Report's Bo Sheridan went to the league's last game of the season.
As with many other communities, Rockbridge County has seen a decline in interest of youth football because of the growing fear of head injuries. Director Daryl Plogger says the Rockbridge Area Recreation Organization has continued to provide boys with the opportunity to learn the game.
We basically stress fundamentals and sportsmanship. We want the kids to have a good experience.
RARO has been in existence for 28 years, and Plogger says this year was one of the best.
It's been a great year. As I was telling you earlier, we've had 4 of our last games in the 9 and 10 league that's went to the very last play of the game.
Brian Cruz, father of quarterback Elliott Cruz, says without the league, his son would most likely not be playing football.
RARO is a great opportunity for younger kids that live in this area to play the game, and it's local, and it's a well-run program.
Last year, 191 boys participated in the league. This year, there were 34 fewer players. Plogger suspects the decrease occurred because of national publicity about concussions. Cruz says he feels comfortable letting his son play football, knowing that RARO takes player safety seriously.
I think with some of the newer equipment that RARO has purchased and the way the game is played overall and some of the precautions that they have taken to protect the kids. So I do feel really comfortable as far as injuries.
Plogger says that he knows concussions have become a hot topic. As a result, RARO has taken greater measures to ensure player safety.
I have an EMT at our games, football games. If there's any doubt, we always err on the side of caution. We won't put them back in the game if there's any doubt. If we think they have a concussion, they have to go to a doctor and get cleared before they come back.
Aaron Pruitt played in the 11 to 13-year-old league. He was part of a Panthers team that finished the season undefeated. He says the key to their success was simple.
Just work hard and practice and pay attention.
Teammate Landon Catlett agrees persistence pays off.
Same thing, just work hard, don't ever quit.
Now that football season has come to a completion here in Lexington, Virginia, many of the kids will be beginning basketball season with RARO and eventually baseball and lacrosse. For the Rockbridge Report, I'm Bo Sheridan.
If you're interested in registering your child for one of RARO's many youth leagues, visit rarorec.org for more information. You can never be too old to try something new. Mary Dunleavy introduces you to the tennis pro who moves around the court with ease at the young age of 92 and still wins national championships.
If you venture to the Raleigh Racket Club, you'll find Tio Campanelli running the baseline on a daily basis.
Oh, I've been waiting for that one. He's in good physical shape. He moves very well. I work a lot at trying to stay in shape and trying to keep healthy.
His strokes are very precise. He is very competitive.
Tio's friend, Andrew, taught him how to play tennis when he was in his 50s because golf just wasn't his sport.
He could tell that I'd been quite frustrated, and as I passed the courts, he said, "Why don't you try tennis?"
Does he ever beat you?
No, he shouldn't do that. Okay.
Tio's been dishing out aces ever since.
With his teaching, I got started with tennis, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Tio's enjoyed it so much, he's still showing off his forehand at the tender age of 92. And he's not just volleying around. Tio is winning national USTA tournaments.
He didn't lose a set, and the tournament director said that as far as individuals 90 years and above, he'd never seen anybody serve like Tio.
Tio has won the 90s and above national championship twice now.
I seem to respect the age that I've been able to achieve this at, and that gives me a sense of pride and honor.
He does a lot of things like riding a motorcycle. He does his own yard work. He does a lot of woodworking. He's got endless energy. So beyond tennis, he inspires you in so many other ways.
Tio is living proof that it's never too late to find your sport.
I didn't start to play it later, but I was in good shape because of team sports.
It doesn't discriminate age, right?
So far.
That's the final whistle for sports. Jack and Bryn, back to you.
Thanks, Gus. In the fashion world, models rule the catwalk, except when an actual cat shows up on the runway. As CNN's Jeannie Mose reports, one cat stole a fashion show in Turkey.
What tends to steal the show at a fashion show is when a model, or even two models, completely wipe out. But at this fashion show in Turkey, it was a cat that ruled the catwalk, doing its grooming on stage instead of behind it, to the delight of the crowd. The cat simply appeared at this Istanbul fashion school show. Models had to step around it. As it playfully swiped at them, Istanbul is known as a city of roaming cats. So much so that there was even a documentary about them. This one was said to have entered the show tent from a nearby garden. Strutting as if to the beat of the music. The fashion editor who shot this video said the cat stayed 7 or 8 minutes, a longer turn on the catwalk than any of the actual models. We don't know if the feline fashionista already has a name, but if not, Cat Moss was our favorite suggestion, assuming Kate Moss doesn't mind. The cat greeted its fans, even sniffed an outstretched finger. Hey, who said you can touch the models?
I'm too sexy for my cat, too sexy for my cat, poor pussy cat.
Jeannie Mose, CNN.
I shake my little touch on the catwalk.
And that's all for today's Rockbridge Report.
You can catch us again Tuesday for our complete election coverage beginning at 7 p.m. Or catch us anytime on our website, rockbridgereport.wlu.edu. Thanks for watching.